our topic for the day and for tomorrow, Ayurvedic nutrition. Okay. Now, when we talk about nutrition, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Food.
Food. Okay. What is the next thing that comes to your mind?
Nourishment.
Diet or the constituents of that food, right? You think about, am I eating too many carbs, right? Or do I take enough protein? Should I be taking multivitamins? Should I be taking those at night? Think about, I've been having too much fat lately. Maybe I should cut down on fat. So those are the things you usually start. Once you think about food, then the next thing is, to keep healthy, you are trying to balance all these ingredients well in your food. Now, looking at this is typically what I would say is the modern aspect of looking at nutrition. Now, when we talk about Ayurvedic nutrition, this completely changes. Okay? When we talk about Ayurvedic nutrition, you are thinking in terms of certain foods, and those foods, if they are good for my body type, if they are good for my imbalance at this time, and how your Agni is, or how my Agni is, and will I be able to digest all these foods, and let alone after that you also will be thinking about if I will be able to assimilate all that food. Okay, so if you look at both the views, they are very, very different, right? The views of Ayurvedic nutrition and regular nutrition. In Ayurvedic nutrition, we are talking about food, we're talking about tastes, we're talking about quality of the food. You've learned the gunas, right? Heavy and light and moist and dry and all of those. We're thinking about all of those things. We are thinking about digestion, because in Ayurveda, digestion is the key to health. You cannot, no matter how good your food is, if you are not able to assimilate and digest it well, it is of no use, because it will create ama. And that ama is going to create disease later on. So all of that has to be taken into consideration. So to start the subject, it may be a good idea to get a comparative view of both. Okay. So first is the conventional view, and then you have the Ayurvedic view. Okay. So why do we eat? So we eat for personal preference, habit, body image, emotions is the conventional view. Okay. The Ayurvedic view is, why do we eat? Because food is a source of prana energy or life energy. So we eat to get that life energy into our bodies. That is the Ayurvedic view. What is the element of nutrition? We always count calories, right? This is my body height, this is my body weight, and this is how many calories I should be eating. If I eat more or less, then I'm in trouble, right? That is the conventional view. But the element of nutrition, if you look at the Ayurvedic view, is the Pancha Mahabhutas. What are the Pancha Mahabhutas? Okay. The earth, water, fire, air and space or ether. So the element of nutrition is Pancha Mahabhutas. So, meaning, let's put that into perspective. What does that mean? It means that, say in a particular person's body, the water Mahabhuta and the earth Mahabhuta is very low or has reduced. Then in that person, if you give him foods which are more with earth and water Mahabhuta, then it was going to balance him, right? So if a person is losing abnormal amounts of weight, with what are the qualities of earth and water elements? They are grounding, they are heavy. So if somebody is losing abnormal amounts of weight and is cachexic, meaning he is extremely thin, and you can actually see like this person definitely needs to put on some pounds, then you would supplement his diet with earth and water Mahabhutas or kapha rich food. Does that make sense? Because kapha dosha is nothing but earth and water. So that is the way you would look at nutrition in Ayurveda. Okay. The focus is on counting calories from different food groups, the conventional view. But the Ayurvedic view is more about how the body processes what we eat. So what this means is, from the conventional viewpoint, you decide a certain body height, age, weight, and based on that you decide the amount of calories. But from the Ayurvedic perspective, you want to see, okay, fine, you need to get what, 2,500 calories, okay? But the foods which you are incorporating, are they balancing your body, or are they just 2,500 calories? That becomes very important. For example, I'll give you a very simple example, is sugar and honey, okay? So sugar has a certain amount of calories. These are not, the right numbers. I'm just randomly choosing some numbers. Let's say a teaspoon of sugar has 10 calories. But then you say a teaspoon of honey at the same time has 22 calories. And then you would say, oh, sugar has 10 calories and honey has 22 calories. So I should not be taking honey because it is adding 12 extra calories to my diet. But what we do not realize is, even though honey, if it has extra calories, honey has the properties of being ruksha. What is ruksha? Dry. It's drying. Okay? It is drying in the sense that it will reduce kapha. It has the quality of reducing kapha in the body. It has the quality of mobilizing fat in the body. It is medohar. It reduces fat. That is the quality of honey. Okay. Now tell me, if you are trying to lose weight, is that 1 teaspoon of sugar better for you, or 1 teaspoon of honey better for you? Obviously, because it has those qualities, even though it is high in the calorie content. Okay. So that the quality of the food is very important. Again, let's say, we'll go back to another example now. You have to eat 2,500 calories with certain foods. Okay. Now, this is a Vata person who needs to eat that many amount of calories. A Vata person typically is very variable with eating. You know that by now, right? From looking at the body types and everything. They may or may not digest their food. They are very variable. But if you make them eat, they may not be able to digest it because they don't have that Agni to digest it. Now, if they don't have that Agni and you are forcing them with those 2,500 calories, then they are going to create ama in the body. Okay? And if they create that ama in the body, obviously they are going to fall prey to some disease, possibly, we do not know, or imbalance. So then again, the body type comes into picture where, yes, you can have that many calories, but then eat foods which are balancing to your body type. So for a Vata person, you may want them to eat more, what kind of foods? Grounding, oily foods, moist foods, warm foods, because that is what is going to help them. So that quality has to be there. So if you give them 2,500 calories with cold cut sandwiches, that won't help, right? But if you give them the 2,500 calories with warm stews and soups, maybe that will help, right? So that idea has to develop if you're doing Ayurveda. It is very difficult because we grow up with a certain idea about food. But always remember, for Ayurvedic nutrition, that idea, you have to kind of plant it, and it will develop as you take more classes and learn more about it. The next, the importance is given to the caloric value, and we talked about that. But in Ayurveda, it's given to the individual constitution. Again, like I said, it's very important to eat according to your constitution. The balance is created by balancing the food ingredients, like the amount of proteins versus the amount of carbs and the amount of fats. But the balancing diet from the Ayurvedic perspective depends on the Prakriti, like oily foods for Vata, dry foods for Kapha, maybe sweeter foods for Pitta, bitter foods for Pitta, things like that, which will help balance you. I remember, this reminds me of a story. It happened in the family. It was my sister who was very, this is long time back. I was in school then, and she's younger than me, so she was even younger. And she one day she decided, she wants to get fit and healthy, and she's started going to a gym. And obviously at the gym they had a dietitian as well, who planned a diet for her based on her height, weight, body type, not body type, I mean height, weight, and all those things. And she is not a great, she doesn't eat too much. She has small frequent meals kind of a thing. And she told her to eat almost twice the amount that she was usually eating, because she was exercising. So then she had this exercise plan, and then she also had this diet. She did that for 2 days. The third day she started vomiting, because by the third day, the amount of food that was told to eat, she just couldn't tolerate. Her body just couldn't tolerate that, because she was eating way too much than she did. Almost like, even though it was probably not high like fatty foods or anything, but it was a big amount, and multiple times they made her eat multiple times, like you eat this and this and this, and then the third day she just stopped. She stopped everything. She said, I can't do it, I can't eat so much. So they did probably what was the missing element there was not considering her her eating habits, or from Ayurvedic perspective not considering her body type. Right? She's a Pitta. She liked to eat, but big meals 3-4 times, and then, but at the same time not a big eater either, even though she was Pitta, even though she is Pitta. So anyway, so I had to tell you that story because we are talking about this. Now, depending, the dietary recommendations are depending on food groups, and the dietary recommendations from the Ayurvedic perspective are based on tastes and doshas or panchamahabhutas, like we have been talking about so far. Like, do you know a little bit about tastes? Do you know how many tastes there are? 6 tastes. And each taste is a combination of certain mahabhutas, certain elements. Do you know that as well? No, okay, we'll talk about it, never mind. But each taste has a certain effect on the doshas, you know that, right? Like sweet taste will help to reduce pitta, or salty taste will increase pitta. So all that has to be taken into consideration. That is what it means. The goal is, with the conventional view, is you are what you eat. And with the Ayurvedic view is you are what you digest. Okay, digestion is the key to health. Remember, Agni is extremely important with Ayurvedic nutrition. Okay, so you are what you digest, and I would like to add something more to it. You are not just what you digest, but you are also what you assimilate. Okay. So your health is determined not only by substances that we place in our mouths, but also by the substances, by how the substances are processed and assimilated. Okay? Because we know, your digestive system has a very strong connection with what? With your mind. Okay? The digestive system responds very much to your emotions. Okay? And at some point or the other in your life, you may have noticed that. Like you have an important test to go to, you don't feel like eating, is one thing you may do, or the other thing is you may hog. No? It happens either way. We sit with a bag of chips and study for a test. That can also happen. Then I have seen people, who have multiple bowel movements because of some kind of fear before taking a test or before having a major, something that they really have to do. They may have to end up going more than what they usually do. Not that they have a virus, stomach virus or anything. It's just that emotions which play on your digestive system.